What happened that would make someone seal their own house with cement? Not leaving any exit. Always giving to the girls. Welcome to the place where you can't scroll during the day. The Can't Escape at Night series. The date is June 22, 2020. The location is Dezhou City, Shandong Province. Early morning on June 22, 2020. The sunlight spread across Dezhou City, Shandong Province. Changguan Town, Ningjin County. However, for the villager Lu Chang, this day, however, was filled with unease and doubt. He walked hurriedly. He walked into the Criminal Investigation Unit of the Ningjin County Police Department. His face was filled with anxiety and worry. His goal was to search for his sister, Lu Xiaofang, who had been missing without a trace for several days, and his brother-in-law, Li Dali. The time rewinds to noon on June 18th. It was an apparently ordinary day. Lu Chang, as usual. He went to his sister and brother-in-law's house to have lunch together. The laughter of the whole family seemed to still echo in his ears. However, when noon came on June 19th, when he stepped into that familiar door once again, he found that there was no one inside. On the dining table were freshly bought steamed buns. It seemed to tell the story of the owner's hurried departure. At first, Lu Chang thought that his sister and brother-in-law might have gone out to work. But on the morning of June 20th, a message on his phone. It was a transfer notification from his sister. But it made him suspicious. You should know that his sister had never transferred money to him via WeChat. This sudden action made him feel very strange. He quickly asked his sister the reason on WeChat. But there was no response, as if his message had sunk into the sea. No response was received. Unease began to spread in Lu Chang's heart. He dialed his sister and brother-in-law's numbers multiple times. But all of them showed that the phone was turned off. All these signs made him unable to avoid suspecting. The disappearance of his sister and brother-in-law might not be as simple as it seems. After receiving the report, the police quickly launched an investigation. From an investigative perspective, the situation of both spouses disappearing simultaneously is not common. This made them unable to avoid speculating. Could there be some unknown secret hidden behind? It is an escape from financial difficulties. Or was it due to a debt dispute that forced them to hide? After a thorough investigation, the police discovered, although Lu Xiaofang and her husband did have some debt issues, but they were not overwhelmed by debt, to the point of needing to run away and disappear. Moreover, over a month ago, Li Dali's mother had just been in a car accident, needed someone to take care of them. In this situation, both spouses disappeared simultaneously. Clearly, this is even more illogical. Therefore, the police divided into two groups. One group requested community surveillance footage, attempting to trace the movements of the two. The other group focused on the couple's social relationships, conducting a deeper investigation. The surveillance footage showed, on the evening of June 18th, the night fell. Li Dali slowly walked out of the building where he lived. The destination was the parking garage downstairs. There, he pushed his electric bike. 2 minutes later, Lu Xiaofang also walked out of the same corridor. She looked completely normal, full of energy, with an upright posture. She sat down on the back seat of Li Dali's electric scooter by herself. As the electric scooter started up, the two of them drove out of the community together. As the investigation deepened, the police discovered Li Dali's movement trajectory was erratic and unpredictable. They reviewed the surveillance footage from June 18th again. The evening surveillance video. After noticing that Li Dali returned to their home alone for more than an hour, Lu Xiaofang. She was also carrying a plastic stool and a plastic bag. She left the house. This time he threw the plastic stool beside the trash can. Then he rode the electric scooter south. Eventually, he disappeared near the southern outer ring. At the same time, the police officer in charge of investigating Li Dali's social relations also received new leads. Around 11 p.m. on June 18th, Li Dali had borrowed a vehicle from a friend. Through license plate information, the police tracked Li Dali's driving trajectory that night. They found he drove all the way from Dezhou to Hebei. Ultimately, he stayed for a long time in Yangyi County. On the 21st, he returned to Ningjin from Hebei. After washing the car, he returned the vehicle, and then rode his electric bike again. On the afternoon of June 21st, surveillance footage captured Lee Dolly's figure again. He was riding his electric bike. He arrived near a shopping center in the south of Ningjin County. He then took a taxi, quietly disappearing from the police's sight. To track his movements, the police found the taxi driver, and confirmed that Lee Dolly indeed took a taxi, headed to Xingtai City in Hebei Province. From the late night of June 18th, Lee Dolly drove away from Ningjin County, heading to Yangyi County Town in Hebei, and then returned from Yangyi Town on June 21st. Along the way, there was always only Lee Dolly in the car. During this process, Lu Chang unexpectedly received a transfer notification from Lu Xiaofang's phone. On the evening of June 18th, Lee Dolly left home with his wife Lu Xiaofang. However, when he returned home alone after 9 p.m., there were some unusual signs on him. In just over an hour, what exactly happened? The police felt they might have overlooked some important information, so they decided to review that surveillance video again. After repeatedly watching, they finally noticed a detail. When Lee Dolly left home, Lu Xiaofang was holding a white towel. This action, though inconspicuous, but this raised the police's suspicion. Connecting this to Lee Dolly's earlier act of throwing the plastic stool, the police found the plastic stool thrown near the trash can. Although it looked normal to the naked eye, but someone could still notice something was off, because the stool was broken. At the same time, Lee Dolly's neighbor reported to the police. On the evening of June 18th, it was heard that Lee Dolly and his wife had an argument. Combining these circumstances, the police began to suspect this broken plastic stool. It might have been damaged during their fight. Therefore, the police immediately organized technical personnel. A detailed re-examination of Lu Xiaofang's home was conducted. This time, the investigation indeed yielded some findings. In the master bedroom, the police found obvious scratches on the back wall. They also detected potential bloodstains through technical processing. Combined with the neighbor's report of the argument, the faint bloodstains on the wall by the broken stool, as well as Lu Xiaofang's action of covering her hand when leaving the house that night, the police made a preliminary judgment. Lee Dolly and Lu Xiaofang on the evening of June 18th. Physical confrontation indeed occurred. Moreover, Lu Xiaofang was already injured when she left home. However, based on various signs, Lu Xiaofang's injuries do not seem to be severe. So where did the couple go late at night? The police immediately conducted a search in Ningjin County, checking all hospitals and clinics, large and small. They initiated a thorough investigation. If all goes well, it was all for nothing. Consequently, the police expanded the video search range, focusing on Lee Dolly's whereabouts on the night of June 18th, the movements after leaving home. They conducted an investigation and analysis. They discovered that Lee Dolly rode an electric bicycle. He took Lu Xiaofang and turned into Zhangwangyan village. But soon after, Lee Dolly came out alone on the electric bike. He returned to his own home. He stayed at home for another hour. Then he borrowed a vehicle from a friend. 10 minutes later, he appeared in the surveillance footage from Zhangwangyan village. This back and forth. There were two people when they left. But when they returned, there was only one person. This discovery further convinced the police. Lu Xiaofang had some kind of accident in this area. To find Lu Xiaofang's whereabouts, the police immediately rushed to Zhangwangyan village to investigate the video blind spots of Lee Dolly's multiple disappearances. A search was conducted. During the search process, the police found by the roadside a very out-of-place white towel was found, and a patch of land without wheat straw. It seemed to have dragging marks on it. On a wheat leaf, the police also found a drop of dried blood. These discoveries made the police more confident in their judgment. Lu Xiaofang indeed encountered misfortune in this area. Encountered misfortune. The police immediately surrounded Zhangwangyan village, launched a large-scale search. But unfortunately, they did not find Lu Xiaofang's whereabouts. Meanwhile, another team of police officers in charge of video investigation. On the afternoon of June 21st at the food street in Ningjin County, there was a new discovery in the surveillance footage. There have been new discoveries as well. The footage clearly shows Lee Dolly passing by a trash can. It seemed like something was thrown into the trash can. The investigators immediately realized this could be an important clue. They quickly organized a team, including investigators and technicians. They headed to the area near the trash can to conduct a detailed search. Inside the trash can, the investigators found a pair of men's shoes and a pair of men's jeans with suspected bloodstains. After further examination, they confirmed that the blood belonged to the missing Lu Xiaofang. Considering the movement trajectories of Li Dali and Lu Xiaofang, as well as Li Dali's later solitary activities, the investigators began to suspect that this was not just a simple missing persons case. They analyzed and believed that Lu Xiaofang had likely encountered misfortune. In order to quickly unravel the mystery, the investigators began tracking Li Dali's whereabouts. Through video surveillance, they discovered that Li Dali, on the afternoon of June 21st, discarded bloody clothes, left Ningjin County and headed to Xingtai City, Hebei Province. In Xingtai City, he changed buses multiple times, and finally got off at the People's Hospital of Nanhe County. However, after getting off, Li Dali disappeared from the surveillance footage. The investigators immediately visited the People's Hospital of Nanhe County for inquiries. The duty personnel informed them that around the early hours of June 22 to about 9 a.m., there was a man had been sleeping on a resting chair in a corner of the hospital. The man's physical characteristics closely matched the description of Li Dali given by the police. After comparison, the investigators confirmed at the People's Hospital of Nanhe County, the person resting was Li Dali. They followed Li Dali's movement trajectory. The trail led all the way to Xiangdu District, Xingtai City, Hebei Province. However, Li Dali seemed to disappear like a ghost. He vanished again from the surveillance footage. Time was pressing. The investigators launched their inquiry in a race against time. They discovered the location where Li Dali disappeared was a square located in Xingtai City. It was a crowded place, with multiple entrances and exits. The investigators speculated Li Dali might have intended to change clothes at this location to evade being tracked. So, they retrieved surveillance footage from the nearby underground shopping mall, and discovered a man suspected to be Li Dali. Although this man had a hat on, his clothing characteristics were very similar to Li Dali's. Through further tracking and comparison, the investigators confirmed that this man in disguise was indeed Li Dali. Based on Li Dali's distinctive clothing and hat characteristics, the investigators quickly traced his whereabouts. They discovered Li Dali frequently traveled back and forth between Yangyi Town, Wuhan City, and Xixian County in Handan City. However, Li Dali has no relatives or friends in these two places. The investigators believe that he may be looking for a place to stay. 6:00 p.m. on June 28, the investigators from the Ningjin County Public Security Bureau received a message from the city of Handan, Hebei Province, in Xi County. It was information from a bus company. A driver reported that he may have seen a man resembling Li Dali. He attached a photo. The man in the photo was wearing a black hat. The features of the hat's edge matched the clues the investigators had very closely. The bus driver revealed to the police that around 2 p.m. that day, he had picked up a man in Xi County, Handan City. He had been driving the whole time, until his shift ended at 6 p.m., when he remembered to provide this important information to the police. The police quickly took action. Considering Li Dali's movement trajectory in Xi County, which was only a little over 4 hours apart from their arrival time, they speculated that Li Dali might still be in Xi County. However, it cannot be ruled out that he may continue to flee. Combining with Li Dali's behavior of staying overnight at Nanhe Hospital previously, and he was around the area near Xixian Traditional Chinese Medicine Hospital, the repeated appearance of the public bus stop situation, the investigators have a bold hypothesis. Li Dali may still be staying at some hospital in Xi County at night. Thus, the police conducted an overnight search of all hospitals in Xi County. So, the police carried out searches of all hospitals in Xixian overnight. Around 1 a.m. on June 29, they were at the People's Hospital of Xixian County, Handan City. They found Li Dali fast asleep. He attempted to use a false identity and excuses. Lee Dolly appeared to be quite flustered. However, the police had already grasped his true identity and evidence of his crimes. Under the police's questioning, Lee Dolly ultimately confessed to the crime of murdering his wife. According to Lee Dolly's statement, Lee Dolly finally admitted to the crime of killing his wife. According to Lee Dolly's account, he and his wife Lu Xiaofang are a couple later in life. The two have been married for 15 years. They have one child. Although those who know them think that this couple has a good relationship, they rarely argue. But in reality, their family is not harmonious. The couple often argues and acts impulsively due to financial issues and family trivialities. They often get into fights and act on impulse. After the couple returned to Ningjin County from Beijing in 2020, they have not found suitable jobs. Coupled with the high daily living expenses, the conflicts between them intensified, especially in May 2020. After Lee Dolly's mother had a car accident, they had multiple conflicts again over medical expenses. They had several disagreements. As Lee Dolly is the only son in the family, in his view, it is only natural to show filial piety to his mother. He believes there should be no hesitation about spending money. However, in his wife Lu Xiaofang's view, although her mother-in-law's illness is important, the life of their own small family is equally important. Spending money should be discussed together. This difference in perspective led to the continuous escalation of conflicts between the two. On the evening of June 18th, the two had another heated argument about selling the car, resulting in a fierce quarrel and impulsiveness. Soon, the argument between the couple escalated into physical violence. The two engaged in a physical fight. Lu Xiaofang even picked up a chair and struck Lee Dolly. Out of anger, Lee Dolly grabbed a dagger. In a fit of impulse, he stabbed his wife. Blood gushed out immediately, staining his face red. He realized at this moment that things had gotten out of control. He tried to cover his wife's wound with a towel, rushed her to the hospital. However, on the way, he hesitated. He feared that the doctor would find the stab wound and report it to the police, causing unnecessary trouble for himself. At the same time, he was worried that this matter would get out, causing negative impacts on the family and neighbors. So he decided to give up on treatment at the large hospital, and instead look for a small clinic. However, when the husband brought his injured wife, when they arrived at the northern side of the road in Zhangwangnian village, he realized his wife's hand was becoming looser. Eventually, she lost consciousness. He turned into a field. He discovered that his wife had died from excessive blood loss. To cover up the crime, he borrowed a car. He transported his wife's body to Handan City, Hebei Province, for burial in a secluded gully. Proceed with the burial. After police investigations, Lee Dolly eventually led the officers to the location of his wife's body. However, after forensic examination, it was found that Lu Xiaofang's cause of death was not due to excessive blood loss, but rather acute asphyxia. This is commonly referred to as strangulation. This discovery, requesting the police to examine Lee Dolly's first confession, suspicion arose. After interrogation, the husband finally revealed the whole truth about the incident. After discovering that his wife wasn't breathing, he was afraid that the truth would come out, so he decided to go all out. He directly choked his wife, to make her death a little more decisive. During the interrogation, Lee Dolly kept emphasizing that he just wanted to treat his wife, but because of his wife's knife wound, her vital signs became weaker and weaker. He ended up choking his wife to death. On June 20th, Lee Dolly transferred all of his wife's bank card savings to Lu Chang, hoping Lu Chang would take good care of their son. If Lee Dolly had tried to save his wife after stabbing her, although he ultimately couldn't save her life, his actions might only constitute intentional injury, resulting in death, rather than murder. Now, Lee Dolly faces more serious criminal charges. This case serves as a wake-up call for us. Marital conflicts are not irreconcilable. Every argument should not lead us down the path to the abyss. We all live in a world full of love, but this love needs our sincere maintenance, especially in the most intimate marital relationships. Do not let selfish impulses and indifference occupy our hearts. Only this way can we prevent horrific tragedies from becoming a thing of the past forever. Because life is too precious. In the end, it's still the same sentence. May the deceased rest in peace, and the living be vigilant.